Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Q&A session for our upcoming course, The Client Attraction Code, a 7-week journey guided by renowned experts of heart-based selling, which will teach you how to allow your business to thrive. I'm Nadira Ade, and it is my pleasure to be hosting this hour-long Q&A call for the Shift Network, where we will explore the teachings of Sharla Jacobs and address questions about her upcoming course, The Client Attraction Code, which begins next Tuesday, January 21st. Later, I will explain how you can participate in this course, even if you can't attend the live sessions. But first, let me take a moment to introduce our special guests. Sharla Jacobs and her husband and business partner, Jesse Corin, have been recognized as the world's leading authorities when it comes to teaching coaches and holistic practitioners how to attract more clients. In the past 15 years, Thrive Academy members have earned over $100 million collectively. I said $100 million collectively. Many of the transformational leaders of today had their first six-figure year while studying with Sharla and Jesse. Their book, The Art of Attracting Clients, has become an international hit that has inspired people all over the world to enroll high-paying clients while staying connected to their heart. Is it time to step into your destiny, to serve your ideal clients and change the world? If your answer is yes, whether you want a thriving private practice or you want to step into transformational leadership, Thrive Academy is the place to be. In just a few moments, we are going to open up for questions, but first, I want to welcome Sharla and Jesse to the call. Welcome to the call.
Oh, thank you so much, Nadira. It's so great to be here with all of you.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And for everyone who's watching, we want to devote as much of our time together as possible to your questions for Sharla and Jesse. So if at any time during this call you want to learn more about this 7-week course, please visit clientattractioncodecourse.com to see the full description. And if you have questions for our customer service department, you can contact the customer support team directly at support.theshiftnetwork.com. And so now we can dive into questions. If you have a question for Sharla or for Jesse or for the two of them together and you haven't done so already, please type it into the chat and I am happy to bring it forward. I already saw a question that caught my attention when we were preparing for this, and so I want to start with that question, which is someone wanted to know, how do I avoid sounding like I'm bragging when I'm talking about my business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's one we definitely will cover in the Client Attraction Code course. And I would say that one of the best ways that you can avoid bragging and sounding like you're bragging when you're sharing something that gives you credibility is to also share something that brings humility and your humanity as well. You know, we all want to know that you're human. We want to know you're great, and we want to know you're human. And so when you can marry humanity and expertise and share both of those, you know, within a sentence or so, it just has people really lean into you and they want to learn from you. They want to work with you, but they also understand you're human. Maybe, Jess, you want to share an example of that?
Yeah, sure. So an example of humanity bridged with expertise is something that I say at the Client Attraction Summit, usually at the beginning, because I'm usually feeling nervous to see everybody. There's a lot of new faces and a lot of excitement and also nervousness. So I'll say, even though I've led this event over 80 times, I think it's 82 now, and even though I've spoken in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, I'm still feeling nervous today. So I'm marrying, as you said, expertise of, we've done this many times, we've personally led hundreds of events, with thousands of people, but at the same time, feeling nervous brings in the humanity.
That makes
Yeah, and I would
perfect sense.
also, yeah, I'd also say that when we get into the hero's journey story, you'll discover how to share your humanity in a really beautiful way. And for some of you, you'll be using parts of your hero's journey story as your code statement. So one of the examples I gave, hopefully you watched the interview I did with Stephen Dinan on this topic, the client attraction code, and I gave this great example of Melissa Seaman, who shares her hero's journey story of like having a psychic awakening when she gave birth to her daughter, Clarice. And that was many years ago. Her daughter's now, I believe, 20, 21. But she shares that story and, the kind of the struggle of figuring that out and having been a Stanford educated attorney. And so that's another example of how you can marry those two. And when she started really owning both parts of that, not just the shaman and the facilitator and the beautiful work that she did as a healer when she had stepped into this new life, but also owned the previous life she had as a Stanford educated attorney, people just really leaned into her right away. So it's one of my favorite things to work on with y'all is to marry those two things when you're sharing what you do.
That's beautiful. Susan would like to know, how do you craft a statement, including coaching successes, when you're just starting out and have not had client experience yet?
Yeah. Do you want to take that, Sharla, or you want me to?
I was going to let you do it. That's why I was being quiet.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Yeah. So if you haven't had clients yet, then you work with some of the other ways to position yourself. So there's 18 different ways to position yourself, and one of them is sharing client success stories, but there's 17 others. And so you work with what you got. Do you want to add anything to that?
Sure. Yeah. That of the credibility builders that we teach, 6 of them are for you if you're just starting out. And so you may not be sharing testimonials or success stories in the beginning, but maybe you can share some results that people got from working with you, even if it was for free. And you can get some testimonies from people that haven't, they didn't pay you to work with you, but they still worked with you and got some results. So that's just one of all the different ways that we're going to teach you how to build credibility and how to share your credibility. And I promise that there isn't one of you listening that doesn't have at least one of these credibility builders to work with. So, I mean, again, 6, or if you're just starting out, will absolutely be able to find something that you can work with. And I think this is the most amazing thing, is that people are often surprised when we go through the process, when you start listing out the credibility builders, and we're going to go through and you're going to see what you can find in each one. We're actually going to take you through a process to kind of bypass your brain that says, that didn't count because I was doing something else in my life. We're going to bypass some of that and go through a process to help you uncover and reveal some of the wonderful and amazing things that you've done in your life that can provide credibility to someone when you're sharing what you do.
I love that. I find that very intriguing, the idea of being able to figure out things that you've done in one area of your life and how they apply here. Oh, I want to hear people sharing their experiences with that one. That just completely juiced me up. I'm sorry. Anthony, the next question from Anthony is, I am okay at telling clients about what I do, but I get embarrassed on selling other modalities or offering more than the modality they have inquired about. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Jess, you want me to take this one? You're all right with that? All right. So Anthony, here's one of the things that we're going to work on in the client attraction code. There is trying to sell your modality. And the problem with selling a modality is that you're hoping they understand what it is you do already. I mean, like the actual process of the work you do. You're hoping that they love that kind of work enough that they're actively looking for the specific thing that you have to offer. And if that's the way that you're approaching it, I can absolutely understand why you would feel uncomfortable sharing about the other modalities and other possibilities that you offer. I mean, you're certainly not the only coach or practitioner here who does lots of stuff. That's actually a distinction here at Thrive, a DLOS. Does lots of stuff. So what if we instead started talking about results that you could offer to a client? What if we focused on what people could walk away from working with you with? What's the outcome? And if we focus on the outcome and we put all the modalities around the outcome, that these are some different paths to get there. Like, what if we could combine all or most of what you do into a way that you could really support your clients to get the results that they want? And that's really the direction we're going to go. I think a lot of people get so focused on their modality, but you have to realize there are thousands of new coaches and holistic practitioners entering the marketplace every month. There's so many training schools out there, so many training programs. I know a lot of people have gone through a lot of different trainings and certifications to really feel like they're finally good enough to help their clients. And we're going to steer away from talking about, like instead of actually answering the question, what do you do? You're going to be answering the question, how do you help people? Because when you focus on what you do, you're competing with everybody else that's out there. And we want to get out of the realm of competition and instead have it really be about your uniqueness, the unique gifts that you have to offer that aren't just about the type of work you do, but actually about the results that people can have in their lives. So I hope that's helpful. It's a little bit of an esoteric answer. And, this is a 7-week course, so we go into this conversation about how to decide what kind of results you want to help people get. That's a 90-minute module just in its own, and it's something that doesn't usually happen overnight. There's a little process to sitting with and meditating on and really diving deep within to discover what that answer is going to be. And so, I'd really invite you to consider that, when you talk about what you do, what if there was a completely way to do it that would be totally, just be a lot more effective. So it isn't just about the one type of modality. And if you're in a conversation, obviously, with someone and they're asking about some certain thing and a particular modality can help them with it, you can certainly get into that conversation. But what we're talking about is that when someone says, what do you do? How do you answer that question so that the people have clarity about who you help? And Jess, you have that new distinction, that a recent distinction, that when someone asks, what do you do? I love it if you'd share that about the 3 W's.
Yeah, sure. So when you're sharing a great "what do you do" statement, the key is to answer 3 questions. The first is who do you help? What's the group of people that you help? The second is what's the result that you help these people get? And then the third one is why. Why are you credible? Why should someone trust you to get that result? And so if you notice, none of those answers come from your modality or your title or your process. And it's not that you need to hide that. It's not that there's anything wrong with that. That's your special sauce. That's, what allows you. It's the vehicle to help them get the results that they want to get. So it's really important that you have a great process and that you understand how to help people get results. But when it comes down to it, that's not why they're going to want to work with you. They're going to want to work with you because of the results that you can help people get, because they know who you specifically help, and because they know why you are credible enough to help them. And even if you don't feel credible enough, we all have gremlins or negative beliefs that keep us from feeling good enough or ready enough or right enough or helpful enough. But one of the things that I love to do the most is help you figure out why you are credible enough. Because that's something that I've struggled with a lot when I was first starting 15 years ago, was this idea that I wasn't ready enough and I wasn't good enough and nobody would take me seriously. And I didn't know how to position myself in a way that people would really get it. And so I knew that I did great work. I just didn't know how to convey that. And so that's a big reason why it's so important to me that everyone who has a gift and who has great work to do which I imagine you wouldn't be on this call listening to this information if you didn't, has the ability to convey that in a way that builds your own confidence, but also builds their confidence and you, and knowing that you can help them get the results that they suffer with. They're suffering with some challenge that you can help with. And so it's truly an honor to help you feel credible enough, for those of you who struggle with that, to be able to help people and to be able to do it consistently and to see people light up and say, wow, I need your help, or my aunt needs your help, or my friend needs your help. So it's truly a privilege, and it's why we do this course.
Thank you. Carol would like to know, what are the marketing methods that are the game changers in scaling a practice? How do you support your clients to implement systems that produce sustainable success? Attracting clients is one thing, but longevity is another.
Yeah, great question. So, I want to be really clear and transparent here that this course is designed to get you a what do you do statement that has people be interested in working with you. And I will say that before you do any kind of marketing strategies, you've got to get this down. This is like the foundation. If you watched my interview with Stephen, and I talked about the 7 critical stages to attracting clients without struggle, client attraction code is stage 3. And we don't want to get into trying to get your phone ringing or, scaling your business until much, much later. Well, let's try to get your phone ringing right away, but the scaling would come much later. So as far as longevity is concerned, there are 8 categories of client attraction strategies that work well for coaches and holistic practitioners. What I found is that, we provide a menu of what types of strategies work best for you. And depending on your personality, you have to choose which strategy works for you. For example, let's suppose you love speaking. You love being in front of a group of people, or maybe even you don't love it and you're terrified of it, but you want to do it. So you're willing to do the personal and spiritual development work to put yourself out there in that way. And I'll tell you, it is an amazing personal growth path to become a speaker if you're not already speaking. And we teach our clients, and this isn't what we're teaching in the client attraction code, but we do teach our clients a full system for how to get speaking gigs and to speak to groups in a way that leads to clients. And once somebody decides, for example, that they're going to go speak, and maybe their method of having someone become a potential client is a free or low cost consultation, they may only have to get 2 speaking gigs a month, maybe even 1 speaking gig a month, and can fill their business with clients. So what I would say is that I believe the path to getting to a place where you have consistent income, that you are able to, consistently earn a great and sustainable living, really depends on first defining your client attraction code, because this is the basis of if you want to do podcasts, if you want to do webinars, if you want to do Facebook Live, even if you want to do Facebook ads. This work that is the client attraction code is the foundation of all of it. This is defining your communication strategy, if you want to say it that way. And from there, you can decide how you want to communicate that, how you want to get it out to people. So, this is like stage 3, and sometimes people try to skip to like stage 7 when they haven't actually figured out this stage first. So really encourage you to go in order. I will say that we have clients who are consistently earning $8,000 to $15,000 every month. And they don't even need that many clients because they've priced their work in a way that like they feel really good about what they're offering. We will do some work on pricing, by the way, in the client attraction code. They've priced their work in that way. They've got their very clear strategy for how they attract clients, and they just repeat that system that we've given them over and over again. But again, I also want to be transparent and say we're not going to be able to go that deep into the strategies. I'll talk about them you can kind of get a sense of which ones are good for your personality. The purpose of the client attraction code is to have you be able to communicate what you do in a way that people get it, want it, and they want to work with you, or they want to refer people to you. And that's what we're doing in the 7-week course. I think it would be absolutely overpromising to think that we could get you to a scalable business model from the 7-week course. So.
Yep. So I just to make sure it's absolutely clear, we go deep with those strategies to help you communicate what you do powerfully. And the marketing strategies we'll touch on, but we can't go deep on everything in 7 weeks. So that's why we do these things in programs where, one at a time, where it's like 7 weeks devoted to this one specific thing.
Yeah. I would also say there is a really, it's a surprise bonus, but there is a surprise bonus once you register for the course that we will go deeper into the client attraction strategies. So we want to make sure you're covered. We're going to give you some great value. One of the bonuses actually for the course is how to get bigger players to promote you. And that is one of the client attraction strategies, to have other people sharing about your work. So we'll give you some things to get you started. And I will say that just being able to share what you do in a way that is compelling for people, we want you to have a unique, what do you do statement that when you share what you do, people say, I need to work with you, or I know somebody who needs to work with you. And that's really our goal of the client attraction code. So I hope that answer was satisfactory. Just, we also want to be really clear about what we can cover.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. If you are just joining us, we are here with Sharla Jacobs and Jesse Corin, learning about the upcoming course, the Client Attraction Code, which begins in just 7 days on Tuesday, January 21st. Please log on to clientattractioncodecourse.com for all of the details and to register. And before we were starting this conversation, Sharla was sharing that Jesse is going to be coming in and offering support within the course. So Sharla is primarily going to be leading, and Jesse will be also coming in where it feels additive and beneficial. So you'll be getting the benefit of all of their experience and knowledge and expertise. So I want to make sure to be clear about that as well. Into the next question. So this is an anonymous question. If I feel that I failed at describing what I do to a potential client, should I continue to pursue offering something to that person, or should I let it go and move on to the next one?
I can answer that question. The beautiful thing about the system that we teach, which is hard selling, is that it's an ongoing relationship. And so it's not like you can just fail or mess up to the point where the relationship is over. So you could potentially check back in with this person and say, hey, last time we talked, I feel like I didn't adequately express what I do, and I'd love to share with you if you'd be interested in hearing, and then you could give it another shot. Hard selling is about inspiring long-term relationships, and your what do you do statement is more of a gateway to a deeper conversation rather than a speech or kind of a grand finale. A week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month later, they're probably not going to remember exactly what you said, but they will remember whether they felt that you were credible. They will probably remember the group of people that you work with, the specific group of people, and they probably will remember the results that you can help people get. So if they can just remember those 3 things, then you're in good shape.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Florence submitted a question saying, I am a psychiatric RN with 18 years experience, now trying to return to and rebuild my holistic practice of 29 years as a mind, body, health nurse, and shamanic facilitator and transformational breathwork guide teacher, workshop and retreat leader. That's a lot. What was that you said? Doing a lot of stuff. This is somebody with a lot of skills and experience.
Yeah.
I'm also trained and practice and teach Native American spiritual practices, sage, sweetgrass, blessing, drum circles, etc. Both modalities, the shamanism side and the breath work, are very powerful alternative ways to, hold on a moment, I'm scrolling, are alternative ways to expand and explore the vastness of one's consciousness to seek relief and answers to perplexing personal issues and problems, and to learn how to access and trust inner guidance. The question here is that I am trying to find a way to express what I do succinctly, credibly, and clearly to get that I need to work with you response and not woo-woo.
Yeah. Do you want to take that, honey? Or you want me to?
I was thinking I would let you take that one.
Okay. Yeah. So for anyone who does lots of stuff, first of all, congratulations on all of the beautiful work that you've done over the years and gathering all these different ways that you can support people. And that's really touching, and it speaks to your dedication to deeply helping people. So thank you for that. The problem that can come in is when you have more certifications or we like to joke, more letters after your name than clients. And if that's the case, then we got to do something to turn up the client side of things, because it's hard to make the difference that you've been trained to make, and you've educated yourself, and you've cultivated all these life experiences to be able to help people without a significant number of clients to support. And so the thing that we find that you can do to sort of tie all of those modalities together is to center all those modalities. If you picture like a circle, and then I'll see if I can draw in front of the camera. So if you picture a circle and then all these rays, kind of like sun rays coming out from the circle. So you have the circle here, and then rays out here. If each one of those rays is a modality, or a way that you help people, and then in the center of that circle is the main problem that you help people solve, that can tie together all of the modalities. So you can use all of the breath work and the ceremonial work that you've done in order to potentially solve one problem. And if you do that and can explain that succinctly, then you can create a whole program using all of your modalities and all the ways that you love to help people to solve that one problem. And sometimes people feel limited by solving one problem. So for us, the problem that we help people solve is, people like yourself that are gifted and can really help people, but just don't have enough clients and are not making enough money in order to make the difference that they are dedicated to making. So if I were to, describe that succinctly, I would say the problem that we solve is not enough clients. And so, Sharla's been trained in all kinds of modalities, and I have too. And we use all of our modalities and all of our life experiences and all the trainings that we've gotten and all of our teachers in order to help people to get that result. So, for example, one of the things that we teach in our 3-day event called the Client Attraction Summit is what we call the 5 elements of hard selling. And so Sharla was trained as an acupuncturist, and got licensed as an acupuncturist, and discovered that she didn't love needles and putting needles in people, but she fell in love with something that she learned in acupuncture school, namely the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. And she loved it so much that she looked through, she looked at client attraction through the lens of the 5 elements. And so when we created the 5 elements of heart selling, which is a very unique system that's developed just for coaches and holistic practitioners, because I think you'll get it. It's based on that experience that she had going through acupuncture school. And so we built that into the curriculum and created a whole methodology around how to attract clients by using the 5 elements, and the 5 elements being fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And you would think, how do you put that together? Well, because Sharla was so passionate about it, and our late night discussions, we figured out a way that every one of those 5 elements is necessary in order to have a powerful and effective and inspiring heart-selling conversation where people feel honored and acknowledged and empowered and often say yes to becoming your client. And so, all of the different modalities, all the experiences that you have can be used to help people get a specific result. Once you know who the group is, once you know what the results you want to help them get is, and once you know why you're credible enough to help them get results. So, Sharla, anything you want to add to that?
Sure. Yeah, Jess, I think that when we start talking about this, that for most coaches and holistic practitioners, if you don't already have a clear who do you serve and what's the urgent problem that you'll help them solve, if you don't have that, this could send you reeling and kind of into your head, and which, we apologize ahead of time for this. This might be a new concept for some of you. For others of you, you've heard this concept before, but you had a lot of resistance to choosing a niche, that this is just like, I don't want to, I want to keep it open and, keep it about spirituality and personal development. And what I would say is that, we really want to meet people where they're at. We want to meet people with their daily thoughts. Yes, we're all doing our spiritual work. We're all doing our personal development. And many of us are thinking about things and feeling through things on that level throughout our day. And the reality is that we're all human. And if our back hurts, or our digestion is a problem, or we get headaches, or we're not earning enough money, or we're fighting with our spouse, and we could go on, that becomes top of mind. And we may want to look at it from a spiritual perspective. And yet the reality is we still want to move through that. And so what I want to say is that, we can talk about the concept here in this interview. And the reality is that there is a step-by-step process that you can go through to help you uncover. And I feel like it's more like an unearthing, like we want to have it be revealed to you, as opposed to like squishing your face together and, frown, like really trying to figure it out, that I don't find that's usually how the answer comes, by trying really hard to figure it out and doing it in your head. I tend to find the answer comes through a process, through going through the process, through taking the steps, through diving inside and being in the inquiry and really asking for guidance and having that be revealed to you. And that's the process we take you through in the Client Attraction Code. I know that, you can hire a consultant or, a business coach or brand consultant to take you through a process. A lot of people charge $5,000 to $15,000 to kind of get the answers that you're going to get in the Client Attraction Code. And I'd rather have you invest that money in other client attraction strategies, like let's get this down, or at least if you're going to really invest heavily in something like that, that you come with this foundation. So we want to just shortcut that path and make it so that you're able to communicate what you do in a way that people really get it. And this is the tricky part. Again, it's not necessarily about what you do and what it's called. It's not title or process. It's really about how you help people. Those, the who, the what, and the why that Jesse talked about earlier. So I hope you can open up, at least in this conversation, to the possibility that you can share about what you do in a way that isn't, let me say this. I think a lot of coaches and holistic practitioners make this statement so significant. And there's a paradox here, because there is the significance of, we want to have people like connect with what we say we do. And we want to have them go, what you do what? And we want them to lean in, and we want them to engage in the conversation. But at the same time, there's less significance in that this is just a conversation starter. So this does not have to be the end all be all forever description of your work. Like, to be authentic, you might have to share about what you do. If somebody really wanted to understand the work you do, you could probably spend hours telling them. So that's not what the outcome is that we're looking for here. We're looking for, do you have a conversation starter that has people really want to engage in a conversation with you, so you can go deeper and take the next steps in that conversation? And do you want to have a bio? This is what people end up with. You end up with the statement, and that's the hardest part, is choosing what to put in your statement. But you have all this other stuff that you can use as part of your bio. If you're being introduced for a radio show or podcast or whatever, you want to put it on your bio, on your website, your About Us page or About Me page. So you end up with a lot of great bonuses. You're also going to end up with how to share your story in a way that's really compelling, which you can do, and you should be doing often. You should be sharing your story often. So this is the best process that I know to take you through this. And Stephen and I were joking about it during the interview that we did a couple weeks ago, where it's like, I can't believe that we're offering the course at this price, but I know it's the price point that a lot of Shift Network community members are used to, and we just really wanted as many people as possible to have access to it. So I just really want to invite you to join us. The feedback that we got from the course last time, I was so moved by what people said about this course, about how surprised they were and how much was in it, how much value was in it, and what they walked away with. So I want to really encourage you to go to clientattractioncodecourse.com and read about the program, read about what people said about who took it last time. And, this could really be a game changer for you in the way that you talk about what you do.
Thank you. I like that. And I just want to highlight, because I was feeling it in my body when you were sharing the difference between the feeling of like contraction and efforting to get to this place versus the ease-filled thing. I know that's something that you really emphasize, is doing all of this with ease. So I appreciated you sharing that. The next question is from Dora, who says, you mentioned that being curious about people helps attract clients. In my experience, people are happy to talk about themselves. I think we all experience that, but not necessarily curious about my offerings in return. What would you recommend to change this pattern?
I'd say hard selling 100%. So there are a couple of different pieces here. When you have your client attraction code statement, that has people who need what you have to offer engage in a conversation with you. So I'll share, for example, Jesse and I, we're out there on the internet a lot. We do speak, and we've got a lot of different client attraction strategies going for us. And we're not necessarily going to networking events. But I tell you, if we get in, and we haven't done this in a while, we now take Ubers to the airport. But back in the day when that didn't exist, and we'd take an airport flyer, we'd park at the lot and get in a van with someone to go to the airport. I was just like, no matter what, I swear we would run into people that were coaches and holistic practitioners. So we would share that that's what we do, is help coaches and holistic practitioners attract more clients and get to $10,000 a month or whatever their goal is. And it would just be inevitable that they would start asking questions like, well, how do you do that? And just how do people work with you? They'd get into that conversation and they'd start asking us questions. So the thing is, having this clarity about who you help, what results you help them get, and why you're credible, it has people lean in and want to talk with you. And it's not as much about what you do or the process. It's more about how you can, how you help people get results. So this is really a gateway. Jess, I think you called it a gateway earlier. This is really a gateway into a conversation. Once you're in the conversation, you use all 5 elements, of hard selling. One of them is to be curious. And so just saying that, rather than you talking and talking and talking and talking about what you do, instead, you want to be curious about this problem that they've shared. And questions like, what have they tried before? And questions like, what's the impact of this challenge they're facing, just for example. So the questions, the curious questions they're designed to help the person you're talking with discover more about themselves. And if it's a good match, that they will move closer to saying yes to you. This isn't like a manipulative agenda type of thing. It's just, really being curious about this person and the particular thing that, you're engaged in a conversation about potentially working together, and asking them questions that will lead them to more self-discovery and saying yes if it's a good match to work together. So it's not unadulterated curiosity about anything that they say. And I find that a lot of coaches and holistic practitioners are naturally very curious, and you can get into a point where you're just like giving it all away and you're, just listening. You're probably a really great listener. And in that listening, people can just they're just so excited because somebody's finally listening to them, right? Because most people are not very good listeners. So how do we balance that so it's not just, giving all your time away? And there is an art to that. And again, it's something bigger than we can cover in the time that we have today. But I will back up and say that once you have your client attraction code statement, you're going to get in conversations that are intentional about the work that you do and how you can help people.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to
Jesse, did
add
you want to
something.
add?
Yeah,
I saw you
that's
laughing.
okay. I was thinking about last week. I was speaking with a group and sharing sort of like a before coming to our program and after what do you do statement, and so I'll share what they were, and then I'll share why I think this is relevant. So before this woman, Nancy, came to our programs, her what do you do statement was something around the lines of, I'm a coach and I help people live the life of their dreams, which is what I used to say when I first started coaching, 15, 16 years ago. And then she went through our program and we helped her create her code. And I'll read it to you as I did with this group. So if someone were to ask her what she does, she would say, I help women who are scared they'll be alone for the rest of their life find the love of their life. Because years ago, that was me. Even though I had a 6-figure business that allowed me to travel the world, I was terrified of living alone for the rest of my life. Fortunately, I discovered what was blocking me from allowing love into my life, and I met my amazing husband when I was 46 and gave birth to my miracle boy, Jacob, when I was 50. I've been fortunate to be able to help hundreds of my clients find love also, and so I'm convinced that it's never too late for love. And so I read that statement, and immediately the host of the workshop yelled out, my daughter needs that. Who is this person? And so when you have a great code statement like that, it just resonates so much that it creates this energy with the person that you're speaking with, or if you're speaking to a group, which is awesome, then they'll resonate with it and they'll be like, either I need it or someone I know needs it. And so the curiosity, the intrigue is just built into the what do you do statement. And so one of the things that we like to pull out is we have a process where you go through every 5-year period of your life and you look for, what did you overcome during that period? What did you achieve during that period? And what did you experience during that period? And so you'll just kind of take notes of, what you went through during those periods. And some of those things actually can find their way, even if they seem unrelated. And when you're first filling it out, like there's no way I would talk about that, or that doesn't matter, that was 20 years ago, or whatever the case may be, often finds its way into making your code statement so unique and so intriguing that people are like, oh my God, I need that, or my daughter needs that, etc. So that's what we want. And we want you to have a code statement that people are like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, Jesse, there was another example that you told me that you shared, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember our client's name, but she used to describe what she did as, I'm a reflexologist, and then she was actually told by other reflexologists that she would then have to convince people to come in and try a session so they would get the power of the work. So for those of you who've been sitting here and you feel like you have to try to convince people to work with you, we want that to completely shift. Never convince again. If I could give you one gift, it would be that you would never have to convince anybody to work with you again. That instead, there's this magnetic energy that comes when you have a client attraction code statement. And for this client in particular, and I don't have her client attraction code statement in front of me, but I remember it was something to the effect of, I was in chronic pain where I almost didn't want to live any longer. Like I couldn't even open jars or open doors. I was in that much pain. And it was a 20-year discovery of learning and working with others to figure out how to get herself out of pain. And now she's helped hundreds of clients do the same. And so now when she shares what she does, there's no convincing. It's people engaging in a conversation about, do you think you could help me with this? And those are the kind of conversations that you want to be in, where people are almost like they're trying to convince you to work with them, or they're just really trying to discern, is this a good match? Much rather have you be in those conversations and having your hot, client attraction code statement, and especially that it's unique to you. So this is about sharing what you do with confidence, clarity, and credibility. And I will tell you that when we are done with the course, that every single one of you will have a completely unique what do you do statement. None of them will be exactly the same. And so then there is no competition and there is no convincing. This is you sharing your gifts and sharing about the ways that you can help people and meeting them where they're at in a way that they're going to lean in and be really interested in, and at least having a conversation about working together further.
It sounds like what you're sharing too is that after working with you and having their statement, then when people are offering their statement to others, they're re-inspiring themselves. Every time they get to share it, they're re-inspired and reignited. So I love that. Anything else that you want to share on this?
I could just say a little bit more about that. That was Marianne Doucette. And the statement that we came up with for her was, I help busy professional women get out of chronic pain because, well, that was me. I used to wear 4 braces and was so riddled by pain that I couldn't type or even turn on a faucet. And that led to a 20-year journey of learning everything I could to heal pain. And not only was I able to heal my own chronic pain and feel better than I ever dreamed I would, but I've also helped hundreds of my clients do the same, including some who are considering suicide as their way out of their pain. In short, my greatest pleasure is helping women get freedom from their pain. And so, exactly what you just said, that, when you have a great code statement, every time you say it, it's like you remember why you're doing the work that you're doing, and your inspiration actually lights up their inspiration. It makes it so that it's like whenever I've been bored by the way I describe what I do, then I convey it in a boring way, and then people just change the subject. But when I share it in a way that lights me up and turns me on and has me believe in myself again and remember why I'm so passionate about this work, then it seems that energy seems to convey to the other person. Suddenly they're much more interested. And so that's another purpose of a great what do you do or a code statement, is to reinvigorate and re-inspire you every time you share it.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. So we're going to have time for 1 or 2 more questions. If you're watching, please type your questions in. But before we take those, I want to mention the client attraction code once more. This is as you can see, going to be a transformative 7-week journey under Sharla's inspiring guidance and with Jesse's wondrous support. And in this course, you will learn a practical and ease-filled, remember we already talked about that, an ease-filled process to share about your work and position yourself like a rock star. This 7-week course takes place on Tuesdays at noon Pacific, starting Tuesday, January 21st. If for any reason you cannot join us live, you won't miss the teachings. You will receive audio and video replays, transcripts, and all course handouts via your course homepage. Also, I'd like to remind you that we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on our courses, giving a full 2 weeks, so until February 4th in this case, to make sure that you absolutely love it. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect via a private Facebook community group so you can stay connected with one another. And everyone who registers for the course will receive the Client Attraction Code bonus collection, which Sharla was mentioning earlier. So the bonuses that are included in that collection include the Get Clients free consultation formula, which is a video teaching with PDF template from Thrive Academy, how to get bigger players to promote you, a 2-part teaching that includes templates from Thrive Academy, and how to turn I can't afford it into a fully aligned yes, which is another video teaching from Thrive Academy. And Sharla and Jesse, do you want to share a little bit about what you are most looking forward to offering in this course?
It's such a great joy and pleasure to watch you as you go through this process. And especially if you're on Facebook or you're willing to get on Facebook, the Facebook group last year was just popping. Like there was so much going on. People were so supportive of each other. I think for some of you, just really feeling like getting community that understands who you are and what you do is going to be so valuable for you. And I just found that a lot of people were coaching each other because the distinctions are so clear, it's so easy to follow, and so you get that feedback from each other and support, and I love that. And it's a really beautiful process to watch people come up with their client attraction code statement. And I'm telling you, like, this is an emotional, beautiful process. Like for you to actually acknowledge yourself in this way by sharing what you do in a way that's just like for you to feel so seen. I know recently Jesse and I are working with some of our clients on their code statements, and Jess, you told me you were reading some code statements that you had actually worked on personally, and our clients were just crying because they felt so acknowledged and seen. And so we want to just really open up for you the idea that you can share what you do in a way that inspires confidence and clarity and credibility in people that you're talking with, that they're like, wow, I need to work with you. And, just imagine, like, whenever you share what you do, people were like, wow, you do what? And that they were excited and leaning in and interested, or they knew somebody that they thought should really, really work with you. That's what we're going for. There are so many people who are out there suffering and who need your work, and they just can't find you yet. And this is a big piece, like a foundational piece for them finding you. If you've been out there trying to do all these different marketing things or even networking and it's just not very effective, it's likely that this foundational piece is missing for you. So we want to give this to you. This is like in some way, it's like this huge gift of, like, I know that, there's a fee to be in the course, but I just truly believe in my heart that this is such a great path to really finding how to talk about what you do in a way that really can get your business moving in a way, like invigorate it with new life and have you really inspire others and inspire yourself when you share what you do.
Yeah, so I agree with everything that you just said, Sharla. The community and the Facebook group, the inner confidence, the certainty that you're doing this for a reason and that it's no accident that you're called to do this work, and to refining not just how you talk about it, but how you think about yourself as a coach or as a holistic practitioner, as an entrepreneur, and truly as a transformational leader or an influencer of sorts. So the thing that I want to add is, just the pain that I had when I first started about 16 years ago, and I literally did not know how to talk about what I did. I just said I was a coach, and people are either bored or confused. They thought I was a soccer coach. And then once I discovered how to talk about what I did, we had kind of stumbled across this group of people, coaches and holistic practitioners. They were the people that we tended to be friends with and tended to, understand, because we were going through coaches trainings and, all kinds of stuff. And I just kind of resonated with them. And then we got a few clients and a few more, and most of them happened to be healers and coaches. So we sort of stumbled across this group of people that we just loved helping. And then we discovered that the biggest problem that they had wasn't health, it wasn't relationships, although sometimes those came up, but it really was money and being able to support people by using their gifts. And so we kind of stumbled across that. And so I went to some trainings, and, people told me, you can talk about what you do by helping people double their income. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. And that seemed to kind of work a little bit, but it sounded really generic, and it sounded like everybody else. And it sounded, so I was just like not really inspired by it, but it seemed to kind of work. And, sometimes people 10x their income, and sometimes they didn't. And so, it just didn't really feel right. Felt like, a statement that someone else gave me. It didn't feel unique to me. And so it's only been, and we've been doing this 15 years. It's only been the last two to 5 years that I feel like I've really landed on, code statement that feels good, that when I share it, it feels right, it feels unique, it feels like nobody else on the planet, can describe their work the way I can describe it and the way Sharla can describe it. And so that feeling is indescribable. It's hard to put a price tag on how good it feels to be able to describe your work in a way that is effective, but also unique, and gives me a sense of purpose, a sense of certainty that I'm on the right path. And so, if I could give you anything, what I'm most excited about with this course is this idea that, that you could leave this course and in 7 weeks or less feel like you have a really good reinvention of how you think about your business and how you talk about your business, and that you regularly experience the feeling of people lighting up when you share what you do, and often becoming clients and often referring people to you.
Thank you. And so for our final question, Lita would like to know, my marketing occurs almost exclusively online and without consultation calls via ads, emails, videos, and teaching. Is this program still a good fit for someone who doesn't primarily market in person or one-to-one?
Oh, great question, Lita. Yeah, thank you for that. Well, and I would say that it depends. If you're getting amazing results with your marketing right now, like you're super, super happy with your ad spend and the return on investment and all of that, then you're probably doing fine. If you're not getting as good of results as you want, it might be a good idea to rethink it and to kind of go back to the basics and just make sure that you've really got this foundation set. So for me, I think getting to the point where you're using marketing tactics that are designed to help you scale, that I would just make sure you've got a really solid client attraction code statement. You'll be using this in your ads, you'll be using it in your webinars, you'll be using it in your organic social media posts, you'll be sharing your story in a certain way, and we're going to share the formula for how to share your story in a way that really engages people's hearts and spirits and has them really lean in. So I believe you'd get great value from the course, but again, if what you've got is working and it's not broken, then no need to try to fix it.
Jesse, did you want to add anything?
No, I thought that was great.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I just want to say that this has been a beautiful and inspiring hour with both of you, Sharla and Jesse. And thank you to everyone for being with us and for both of you sharing your wisdom and your teachings with all of us on the call today. The Client Attraction Code starts next week, Tuesday, January 21st. And again, please visit clientattractioncodecourse.com to learn more or to register. And on behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to having you on this course or on another one in the future. So farewell. Thank you
Bye-bye,
all.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing many of you.